And now, the starting lineup of your favorite show. At producer, 5'11" from Blanchester, the Cow Killer, Casey McCollister. And comic engineer, standing at 4'8", the pride of the West Side, Elliot Rearing. And your host, weighing 150 pounds, soaking wet, from Hamilton, Ohio, Ace Fowler.
All right, here we go. Welcome in. Off the bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. I am Trace Fowler. Elliot Rearing, Casey McCollister's in the house. And I was told today that we were on TikTok.
TikTok.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Tickety-tock. Yesterday, you gave us a test, Casey, and about 4 minutes in, it said that there was copyrighted material that they were no longer recommending the program. And I just want to say that if that's the case, then it's going to get copyrighted every day, because our voices and I guess the set, we'll see how we navigate those waters. But congratulations to whoever it was, you, Jeremiah, Elliot. I don't know who exactly ultimately figured out everything, but yeah, I'm glad we're on TikTok.
Casey. Good job, Casey.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we kind of made it, right? We're getting content that's our own content that's getting copyright.
We made it.
We've made it.
That's what I get from that.
That's right. That's what I'm thinking as well. It wasn't so much that we got a studio. It wasn't so much that we started our own show. It wasn't so much that we got the ESPN Dayton on the home of the best sports coverage in the Miami Valley, 1410 Wing AM.
Yeah.
It has now been cemented that we are that we have made it to the mountaintop because we are on TikTok.
My mountaintop moment wasn't TikTok, Casey. It was actually Rumble. Once I was told we were going to Rumble.
I forgot all about Rumble.
I knew I was at the pinnacle.
But
I
you're
knew
still on
I
Rumble.
was at the peak. Nick Cross says avoid those peaks and valleys. Well, I say nay to that. Let's go to the peak that is Rumble, all the way up top.
Yeah. Speaking of peaks and valleys, I'm sure we'll have a discussion about the Cincinnati Reds at some point.
That should be fun.
They are finding themselves in valleys more times than peaks. So perhaps, to be fair to Nick Kroll, maybe that's what he meant. He was just trying to stay out of the gutter.
Yeah.
And he's realizing that that's exactly where the Reds are right now, and we'll have discussion about that. We have headlines as always. The Bengals schedule.
Oh,
we got
yes.
some discourse. I see some discourse online. Some people that are frustrated. 3 games in 10 days. We'll have a discussion about that. And then around the world, you know, we like to keep things geopolitical around here, as we always do.
That's
you know,
right.
very, very serious sports talk show. And on a very serious sports talk show, you must talk about all the things around the world. So that's on the headlines as well. We have call-ins. We'll see where the show takes us. I know one thing that I am very, very pleased to be is here and not at the PGA Championships watching Michael Block.
That's right. Poor Michael Block. And this is a guy, I think everybody kind of started picking on him because of his silly little reactions. You know, they told him he was paired up with Rory. He cried. They told him, what event did he make last year?
He got a lot of praise for all that. I think people got
I
annoyed.
don't think so. I think they're picking on him now.
No.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
got
yeah.
tired. They got tired of just having to hear about him over and over again. He started showing up in commercials. It's almost like the with this weird social human dynamic that we have, right? To where you can appreciate something that's happened, but then it's almost like there's a line that gets crossed at some point about too much popularity for somebody that doesn't, I guess, quote unquote, deserve it.
Yeah.
Michael Block, somewhere along the lines, had crossed over that line to where he went from the most beloved person in golf to where I guess some people in golf started to get tired of the act.
They get tired of the shtick, and that's okay. Listen, he had his run in the sun. It was magical. Everybody loved it when he made what was the hole-in-one. It was the hole-in-one he had.
Yeah, he had a hole-in-one during the practice rounds as well.
Did he really?
PGA, yeah.
Did he really?
He did.
This guy's the greatest golfer of all time. He might be better than Nicklaus, and that's a fact. And that's why everybody hates him. They hate him because they ain't him. And that's just where they are. But I forgot to mention this. Driving in this morning, another obstacle.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So right after Ross High School, they have added a traffic light right in the middle of the road.
Nice.
Right in the middle of the road.
Well, that's usually where they put them, Elliot.
Well, unfortunately, this traffic light's special because it's only there for construction purposes, which means that light isn't a normal light. It just goes whenever the hell they want it to go off. So I was there sitting there today, 10 minutes, 11 minutes, 12 minutes, and 13 minutes go by, and then finally the guy manually flips the switch. manually flips the light to green. So that's what I have to look forward to every morning. But that's a joy. Listen, every day is a gift. Art Lovely. All right. So there's a stutter.
Say it again.
Stutter? Yeah, I stuttered through that one. Listen, sometimes you stutter. When it's early in the morning, I guess 10 a.m. is not really early. The Reds. If you didn't watch yesterday, you were at work, you were doing something important, you just don't like watching them, I'll tell you what happened. The Reds mustered up 3 hits. 3 hits. In the series finale against the Arizona Diamondbacks, Andrew Abbott was really, really good. He gave up 1 run on 4 hits in 7 innings, struck out 4 as well, for what it's worth. Brandon Fahdt, he looked like prime Randy Johnson against this lineup. He went 7 innings, allowed 2 hits, struck out 9 batters. Santiago Espinal, a guy that I've been told is a really good player by Randy G on Twitter. I've been told Santiago Espinal is the next coming. So Santiago Espinal's his solo shot was the only run production this team had. Good for him, I guess. He increases that average to 192. Elly in India didn't play yesterday. India was scratched due to a headache. And we have Elly De La Cruz was benched, I guess, for rest. All-star manager David Bell, I wish you would have picked a different day to rest Elly De La Cruz. Perhaps not on the finale of a series where you'd like to win it. But to each their own. To each their own. The big news somehow was not the loss. It was our starting pitcher, Nick Lodolo. He has been placed on the injured list due to a groin injury. The Reds are back at it tonight at, Trace would like this, 10:10 p.m., where Brent Suter will act as the opener against Tyler Glasnow. So shout out there. We do have some audio from David Bell we'll play later. But around the league, the Giants, they beat the Dodgers 4-1 to avoid the sweep yesterday. The Angels, they win 7-2 over the Cardinals to avoid their sweep. The Astros, the Houston Astros, they win 3-0 over the Athletics. The Rangers shut out the Guardians 4-0. The Yankees shut out the Twins 4-0. The Cubs, who had not scored a run up until yesterday in their series with Atlanta, finally wins a game. They scored 7. They won 7-1. And good for them, I guess. Another divisional team wins when we lose. The Rays, they win 4-3 over the Red Sox. The Phillies, they crushed the Mets 10-5. The White Sox get their 14th win of the season over the Nationals, winning 2-0. I can't even act like that's a big deal anymore. I can't even be sarcastic with 14th win because they're almost at how many wins the Reds have, which is 17. So I'm sure the Reds will be last in the MLB by no time. The Rockies, talk about a team that was bad. They have won 7 straight games. The Colorado Rockies have won 7 in a row. They finish off another sweep over the San Diego Padres. So it looks like even the worst teams in the league are getting
How many
hot.
do they got? How many wins do they got?
I think
they went 7 in a row. My guess is
you think they're at 16 maybe?
I'm going to go with 14.
The Rockies have won 7 in a row. They are 15-28.
Wow, so we are bordering the last place.
The Reds are 18-25. 18-25. It's continuing on though. The Brewers won 10-2 over the Pirates. Top of the division gets hotter. NBA last night. Trace, do you watch any NBA?
I actually did, yes.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. I watched the Mavericks. They played the Oklahoma City Thunder.
That's right.
I watched a good amount of that.
That's right.
A very good amount of it. And I actually turned it off with like 3 minutes left, which was maybe a rookie mistake. Yeah. Because it was a little lopsided. The score was just out. I think it was like a 12, 13-point game with 2 or 3 minutes left, which, to be fair, in the NBA is not as crazy as maybe a college basketball score.
I think it's worse. I think it's worse in the NBA because I think they give up. I think they give up quicker in the NBA.
Like not that college kids, say these outlandish things.
Yeah, it's not outlandish. College kids will keep fouling down 8.
Yeah, and I don't understand that because they can't score 8 points in 7 minutes if you give them a chance to.
Well, I'm just saying.
At least in NBA, they have the ability to hit 3 straight threes. Yeah, they might drill 3 or 4 straight threes. College, it takes at Virginia specifically, it takes them about 12 minutes to get 8 points.
Well, the Mavericks, shout out to the Virginia. They helped me win my bet NC State against Nick Kirby. The Mavericks won 104-92 to take a 3-2 series lead over the Thunder, as Trey said. Luka dropped a 31-point triple-double in a bounce-back performance. Derrick Jones Jr. added 19 of his own to help the cause. Tonight, Game 6 of the Nuggets versus Timberwolves. series. They head back to Minnesota. Nuggets have a 3-2 series lead. They're 2.5-point underdogs tonight. The other game yesterday, the Celtics, they won the series 4-1. They beat the Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell nowhere to be found. I guess he was hurt. 113-98. They win. Jason Tatum scored 25 points, 10 boards, 9 assists, 1 assist away from the triple-double. Al Horford contributed 22 points as well. Evan Mobley for the Cavaliers was the only person that could score. He had 33 points. NHL, Casey, the Avalanche, they stayed alive last night, and they beat the Dallas Stars 5-3.
That they did. I watched the Reds game yesterday. I watched FC Cincinnati yesterday.
Yeah.
Didn't have much energy to watch the Avalanche. My Avalanche.
Your Avalanche.
And I hate to admit that.
Yeah.
But I was getting a little defeated because we have this group chat, you, me, and Reed.
Yeah.
And I just get bombarded every time the Dallas Stars and Avalanche go at it. And it just always seems like they get down early. And I just got these texts like, oh, here come the Stars. Here they come.
That's right.
Early goal. Here we go. And I just give it a while. I'm just biding my time waiting. Box score watching and just patiently, quietly waiting. Final score ends up being 5-3. And I don't hear a peep from these guys after the first goal. They just silent as
That's
can
usually
be.
what Cubs fans do, is that
That's
they
right.
get really excited at the beginning of things because they don't have nice things usually. Now, we can't really speak a whole lot here in Cincinnati about nice things, but we'll just keep it with the Cubs. What they do is they get really excited at the beginning, and then it all falls apart at the end. It really is. It's a story. It's a story told every year.
Yeah, I thought after the second trimester, I really did. I really thought I thought the Stars were going to pull it out. But again, I don't care. Reed cares. I couldn't care any less than I care about that series. You said FC Cincinnati. Well, guess what? They played last night, Wednesday, 7:30 Trace, you were there?
Was not. I got busy again. I promise I'm going to get down to TQL.
Come
though.
on.
Not again.
No, I promise
You
I'll
said
get down
you'd
there.
go.
I've just been busy lately.
Yeah,
if we're
he's
being
been
honest.
real busy. I think he's going to continue to be busy even when he's not busy. FC Cincinnati, they scored a goal off a header by Kevin Kelsey, Casey's guy, in the 7th minute to take a 1-0 lead. That lead stuck all the way till the end of the game. Orange and Blue have won 5 consecutive games, Casey.
I know. They're on a roll.
They're on a roll.
Kevin Kelsey's really provided a spark. I think he's still kind of working out some chemistry with the wings.
Oh, yeah.
But
that's what I noticed, too.
The difference is the chemistry he has with Acosta. That has been the night and day difference with this team.
It's kind of like Jordan and Pippen.
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, clean it up over there, man. Damn, we're on the radio. And you guys, Elliot, do you know anything about the radio?
You broke me on that one. You got me on that one. Listen, every once in a while Trace gets me, and that was a good one. Continue on, please.
What? Kevin Kelsey's been the spark that we need. Move on. Go on.
Oh,
they won, right?
Yeah, they won. 1-0.
They won 1-0. Oh man, what an exciting game that was.
they scored in the 7th minute. Nothing after.
Well, they just held on. They parked the bus. I think that's the phrase they use in soccer, and by soccer I mean football.
Oh,
they had.
All
good
right.
They
We got to finish these headlines before we go to break.
PGA Championship, it's underway, as Trace mentioned earlier. Michael Block is not in the lead, but we do have 5 guys that are at 2 under par. We have Doug Gims, Xander Schauffele, Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, and Sahith Theegala. Victor Hovland, my guy, is 3 under through 4. And those are your headlines, and that is your first segment.
That is our first segment on 1410 Wing AM. Sorry. We had a perfect show going, as we all know.
Yeah,
it was perfect. I just blew the perfect game. Speaking of blowing perfect games, we'll talk about the Reds offense right after this on 1410 Wing AM. All right, welcome back in. This is Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers. Trace Fowler, Elliot Rearing, Casey McAllister on your lovely Thursday edition here on 1410 Wing AM. And we just got through headlines. It was a little rocky.
I think that
It
was
was
great.
a little rocky. We got through it though. We had
that-
some situational awareness there where it took us a couple minutes to reel it back in after Casey was going through our very pristine FC Cincinnati coverage. But I look at the next headline, and here we go again. I got to be honest. I got to do a show every single day, and I usually think, first of all, I should have done this at the top of the show. I'll do it now at the top of the second segment.
Please.
Thank you to Tom for coming in here and really saving me. When we talk about taking one for the team, Tom took one for the team. I really much appreciate that. And I think I've already said this before out loud. Like, I am tired right now, and I no excuses, but I'm worn out.
No
worn
excuses.
Out.
I'll be curious to see how you'll be tomorrow.
Yeah, I won't be here probably.
That's what I figured.
There's a really good chance of that.
Yeah,
I probably won't be here. 10:10 start time tonight for your Red Legs if you're going to stay up and watch them. And, it's the same song and dance. And I just can't believe that people want to tune in and listen on YouTube and or 1410 Wing AM and listen to us do the same old song and dance. Like, we just can't do that today. We can't do that. We'll talk about the Reds for a minute, but then I want to talk about the Bengals schedule. We'll talk about the NFL. We'll have some fun today.
That's right.
Because, there's only so much fun you can have.
That's
and
right.
When I mean so much fun, I mean not fun at all. Talking about the Reds, and it's because of time and time again, you see it. Like, my thing is this, and I'm not here to like wave my hand in the air and say, hey, listen, I told you so. That's not what I mean by this. But I strictly said right during that Philadelphia Phillies series at home, I said if the Reds can go 13-17, 4 games under 500, which I thought was reasonable. I thought, you know what? This is something we can aspire to do and have expectations that this should be the case. When the sales manager comes in and they're like, I know your quota's $500,000 a year, but let's be honest. I need 275 out of you. You can kind of take that one of two ways. Some people think you're going to take that and slack off. Some people take that and say, you know what, that motivates me because I actually have something I can actually obtain.
Sure.
I thought 13-17 was realistic. Boy, was I wrong. I don't know what they've been since, but it feels like they've won a whopping maybe 3 games since I've said that.
Yeah, I think that is the number. I think it is 3 games, which is sad. I looked at the lineup yesterday after India was scratched, and I said, this isn't a major league team. It's not. I mean, no disrespect to Connor Capel, Jacob Hurtubise, and who else? We have Mike Ford hitting third. Santiago Espinal. We have who's Maley? Luke Maley's there too. I mean, that's like what 6 guys I just rattled off that aren't major leaguers that we have hitting in positions that they shouldn't be hitting in. So yeah, this team is not what we thought it was. They can't survive this stretch. I'm not down. I'm just out.
Exactly.
I'm not down. I'm just out.
That's fair.
And realistically, you take a look at the roster, you can't see anything else. It's impossible for you to look at it, and we're taking shots off the bow with Nick Lodolo. We'll talk about that in a second. Injuries are killing it. TJ Friedel came back for a day. It's not a good team. There's no bright side here. And it's not because the team stinks. It's not because any of that, and they do stink right now. But it's because we don't have the roster that we thought we had coming into this season. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Nowhere close to the same roster. I'd argue this roster would have a losing record in AAA. I'd argue that.
I don't know about that now. The only reason that you can't say that with a straight face is because of the pitching, and that's the most frustrating part of all this, I would say, is that it'd be one thing checking out or giving up or just casting it off as in, we'll worry about it next season. I mean, listen, reasonable minds would maybe already be there. But I also think that there's this semblance of the most frustrating part of all of it is that not only do you have a situation where you look at the box scores, or not the box scores, you look at the standings and you look at the record and you're incredibly frustrated. But then the most frustrating part to me is that you look at what the starting pitching staff has done.
Yeah.
And you could not genuinely have asked for a better start to the season than this starting pitching. You find yourselves losing these 1-run games every way imaginable. It's the setup man that blows it. It's Fernando Cruz continues to get 2 outs in an inning, and for whatever reason, you get 2 outs, You give up 2-3 hits in a row, and they score a run. They let a run across. Heaven forbid the offense come in and save the day, though. Just one time. Just one time. Just come in and score. Like, maybe you give up 2 runs, but then you score 3 runs. That doesn't happen. What they ultimately do is they find a way to make it just close enough, and then they rip the rug right from underneath you. It's like the old Peanuts, you know? They put the ball on the ground. You go to kick it. They pull it away from you. Every single time. And I'm with you. I'm not giving up on the season because they are only like, this is the most ridiculous baseball thing that everyone does at the beginning of every season. You ready for it?
Yeah.
They're only 2.5 games out of a wild card position right now, and there's like a billion games left to be played. So I will say that the season's not over. But when you look at this roster and you look at the way this team plays on a night in, night out basis, it's just not entertaining to watch. Like, you only watch it because you're a diehard. You only watch it because you like just love the game. You don't watch it because they're entertaining right now.
Yeah.
They're absolutely disgusting. It feels like I'd give a bad analogy right now, but it's just we're all living through it. And the question of the matter is like, is there an end to this tunnel that has light at the end of it? And I don't know if their answer is yes, if we're being honest.
I don't know how you can say there. I don't know how you can say there is. And I'm praying, I'm knocking on wood. If Elly De La Cruz suffers any sort of setback, any sort of injury that involves him missing a week, 2 weeks, what is this team? What are they? Because they're not good.
Yeah.
We have 3 guys hitting above 250. 3. We got 1 guy, and I say this with love and respect to Will Benson. You have 63 strikeouts. 63 strikeouts on May 16th, and you don't play every day. How is that fathomable? You lead the league in strikeouts. Lead the league. You're not. It's just one of those things where, yes, sure. Are we all in a slump together? Are all these guys playing as bad as they can at the same time? Yeah, but I'd argue the ceiling, what you're hoping they can be, isn't much higher. And that's my problem right now. I can't ask Connor Capel to come up here and hit 300. Can't do it. You can't ask Santiago Espinal to hit 450, 300. Not going to happen. He's got to play every day. You got Luke Maile hitting $130. $130. A guy that I liked coming into this season. A guy that I argue could have been the starting catcher by the end of this season. It's just not what I thought it was. The starting pitching has been what I thought it could be. The starting pitching's lived up to the hype.
A realtor named House chimes in here. Our brother, Chi-Town. Although he changed the name, so I can't say it's Chi-Town. But he did say, let's all jump on the White Sox hype. Don't forget the brotherhood up here. EFF the Cubs. I don't know what's good for radio or not, but
I don't know if you can say that. EFF. You can say EFF.
Yeah,
though.
100%. But here's the thing: am I going to jump from the Reds to the White Sox bandwagon? No, I can't do that.
Yeah, that's a sad bandwagon.
I can't jump bandwagons. Period. But I'll tell you this: if I had my pick of the litter, the White Sox aren't coming up first.
Can I ask you? They would be last. I would say.
They'd
be ahead of the Athletics.
But
they're
pretty close.
Yeah. Let me ask you this.
At least the Athletics, you got a new city to go to, Sacramento.
Elly De La Cruz took his first game off yesterday. He pinch hit in the game, to be fair.
Yes, he did.
Do you agree with that decision by All-Star manager David Bell?
I said this yesterday. I think that for a guy that young, I do consider that a day off. I get the logic of thinking, if you're going to give a day off, he doesn't play at all. But this team's one, struggling too much to maybe do that. To where that's the argument I think that could be had or made, period, is that when you're struggling this much, does a guy like that get a day off, period? He hasn't had a day off all season.
Yeah.
You have a day game. You're going to L.A. Is he going to sit in L.A. at a point? No. I mean, he's not going to sit for a night game in L.A. So, I was fine with it. I really was fine with it. I mean, at the end of it all, if we're relying on a 22-year-old, basically rookie, to not be able to take a day off for you to be able to survive, then you're not worth surviving in the first place.
That's fair.
That's kind of my thought. It's I think when you lose, everyone wants to blame something, or they want to point towards something to give it some blame. The blame should just go strictly to the fact that they don't have enough good big league players. It's genuinely as simple as that. I'm not going to make more out of this than need be. I know that on a talk show, you're supposed to speculate. You're supposed to try to keep things entertaining. You're supposed to try to make something out to be that it's not from time to time. I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because I think that this team isn't good right now, and their lineup is trash. And ultimately, that's what leads to scoring 1, 2, maybe 3 runs. And by gosh, if they get hot, they'll score 5.
The lineup could not be worse.
So that's where we're at. Did you have a problem with Elly sitting?
Yeah, I did. I think if you're going to give him an off day, A, you do it against a lefty, in my opinion, and then B, you don't do it in a game where you can actually win a series, get some momentum for your team. I thought that was a bad decision by, again, all-star manager David Bell. I thought that was silly. I thought that was nonsense. And then it just got capped. And I think once that India decision was made, I think then you have to put him in.
That's fair.
Because once India was scratched due to, again, I'm not going to disrespect a migraine. I've never had a migraine. I know how bad they suck. Saying that, having India get scratched due to a headache is brutal when you have an offense that legit can't get on base whatsoever. To save their life, they can't get on base. And once that decision was made, Elly De La Cruz should have been back in the lineup. Because how are they supposed to? I'm not going to go too much into it. Trace just said it. You can only beat this dead horse for so long. It went Will Benson, the strikeout king. He led off. Jake Fraley, very good hitter against righties. Very good. He went 0 for 4 yesterday, but very good. He batted second. Mike Ford is batting third. No disrespect to Mike Ford, but in what world? After that, you have Spencer Steer struggling. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. Ever since the first month, I would say 3 weeks of the season, Spencer Steer has been struggling. You have Candelario, who's been playing better at the 5 spot. I like that. But then we get to this part of the lineup. Connor Capel, Santiago Espinal, Luke Maley, Jacob Hurtubise.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't win with that. There's no team in the world that wins with that. They scored 2 runs yesterday, Trace. It felt like the Reds were never in it. It felt like the Reds were that Santiago Espinal solo shot to tie the game. I was still like, that was the first hit of the game. What are we going to do after this? What's the plan? You tied it. Who's going to score next? Because they don't hit with runners in scoring position. They don't get on base for anybody to hit them in. And if they could hit them in, they wouldn't hit them in anyway. There's nothing to be positive about. You lose Nick Lodolo to the IL. How soon before somebody else goes to the IL?
Well,
Let me ask you this. Because the starting pitching's been very good, and we've talked about it. Yeah. What happens when they collapse? Because water always finds its level, and there's a chance that the starting pitching's not going to throw 7 innings scoreless gems anymore.
Let me. Will you step back from that ledge, my friend?
Yeah.
Please.
Sure.
Shout out 988 if you need help. Text or call 988. Water will find its level. We can't say that with the starting pitching and then not say it about the hitters. So there's that. I also think that this bullpen has struggled during the back end of games here recently, and unfortunately that's been the cause of a couple of losses. And you mix that up, and you have an equation of a bunch of losses. And I'm not saying that there isn't reason for concern, but I don't think that this is really a mystery as to why they're losing. That's the good news.
No, yeah, there's no mystery.
The good news is we kind of know the problem. The bad news is I don't know if there's help on the way. Nick Lodolo, we'll talk about him right after this on 1410 Wing AM. All right, welcome back into what has become basically the soundboard, the therapy session for your Cincinnati Reds.
That's right.
Elliot, I'm trying to talk him down here, trying to get him back into a place where he feels comfortable and confident in his Cincinnati Reds, but I don't think I can do it. And one of the reasons that I continue to find myself maybe being a little bit more and more less optimistic is because every single time you think you have some momentum, you lose it. And again, we'll find out what we all believe in this whole Nick Lodolo thing. But Nick Lodolo, he enters basically the injured list for 15 days. Word on the street is that he expects to be back within the 15 days. The problem is it feels a little bit like the boy who cried wolf. We all know the story. You cry wolf, you cry wolf, you cry wolf. There's not a wolf. And by the time there actually really is a wolf, nobody believes you. And that's where ultimately I find myself every single time someone goes to the IL for the Cincinnati Reds.
Yep.
We've been told the same story before, that somebody was going to be back in a certain amount of time, and then they're not back in that time, or when they do come back, they have another setback, and they find themselves kind of in a waiting pattern. But it's not lost on me that Brandon Williamson, the guy that you maybe or maybe not remember from last season, he came up during the Rockies series, the same series that Matt McLain came up for, and he was pretty serviceable and certainly was one of the better arms towards the back end of the year last year. So Brandon Williamson was a bright spot coming into this spring training, like many other guys. Yet Brandon Williamson was nowhere to be found. But I just want to remind everybody that this is another organization, and I know that somebody, and I can't think of Epler, took one for the team for the Mets the general manager, went to Phantom IL. For those that don't know, Billy Epler, I think is his name. He was the general manager for the Mets. He got suspended for a year in Major League Baseball because he was manipulating the injured list. Now, I'm not going to say the Reds did the exact same thing, but I'm going to say the Reds did the exact same thing last year. There's no doubt about it. Every single time there needed to be some kind of decision-making on the 40-man roster, you're going to have to DFA somebody, or you're going to have to make some kind of major move, if you want to call it that.
Sure.
Whoop! What'd you find? Somebody comes up on the old injured list. Brandon Williamson, here he comes right down the pike, makes his first rehab assignment. Probably going to go make another rehab assignment. And then all of a sudden, there we have it. Brandon Williamson might be ready in, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 days. And who, lo and behold, now finds themselves on the IL? Nick Lodolo. Now, I hope that it's a phantom IL. I'm not suggesting that it 100% is, but I'm just leaving it out there. And I'm just going to say, I'm not going to overreact because I think that there's a chance, Elliot, this is load management. A little LeBron James. A little, Kawhi Leonard for your NBA association. I think that's what we might have. I'm hoping that's what we have. Maybe this is wishful thinking.
It better be what it is, because if I'm going to be honest, I had injury concerns about Lodolo coming into this season, just as I do with Hunter Green, just as I do with just about everybody in the rotation. Saying that, if that's the case, if we're just giving him a break, and I think Kirby talked to me about that yesterday, how essentially you pitch a lot of innings when you haven't really done that a whole lot in your career, and you get here and you're like, okay, let's take a breather here. Give him 2 games off, I guess it would be 2 starts off, and then we'll be back. Then we'll be back at it. So if that's the case, I'll be very happy. But if he's hurt, if he misses time, we're losing positives. We're losing the very few positives we have as Reds fans. And speaking of that, Casey, I did have audio from David Bell, our good friend, and this is going to get you fired up. This is an all-star manager, David Bell, and he's talking to you after the game, and you got to listen to his words. You got to heed his advice. They're a good team. You just don't know it yet.
It was tougher to take, knowing the pitching that Andrew Abbott gave you here today.
Sure, Andrew did a great job today. Just really in complete command against their whole lineup. Threw a lot of strikes, got a lot of ground balls. Just a good mix of pitches, and it was a great game. It came down to who was going to score first there late, and the Diamondbacks were able to do it, and that was the difference.
What was Fahdt doing to keep you guys so off balance today?
Yeah, made pitches, his ability to throw sliders in the zone, kind of in any count, left, right-handed hitter was a big part of it. But he's good. We've seen him before. He's been good against us.
It seems like Cruz gets the 2 outs and then they can't finish that last batter to get out of an inning. It's been like this a couple times now.
Yeah, he threw strikes today. Got behind the Smith. And he had a nice swing on it, but got 2 strikes, like you said, 3 strikes. They got 2 hits to win the game. So Cruz is going to continue to be good for us.
You guys have 7 games now, the next 11 against the Dodgers and stuff. It's tough. The schedule just keeps getting harder, but obviously you guys have prepared to deal with that.
Sure. Yeah, we do. We prepare for this, and we've talked about that a lot. It's very important to us as a team, to me, that our team doesn't talk about that. We expect to go out and win. We know we're good. We believe we're good, and I think because of that, we don't spend a lot of time talking about who we're going to play next, other than the preparation for the team coming up. But we got to beat these teams, so that's we're no different than every other team. We play every single team in baseball, and it's a good challenge.
Yeah, the guy that threw the ball over the plate, throw strikes. That's what made him so effective. He's a major league pitcher throwing the ball over a major league strike zone, and we don't have major league hitters. I would like, just one time.
Here's the thing.
Say something different.
I
know that's not going to help anything, but here's
the thing about our all-star manager, David Bell. Everybody knows I've went on a couple rants on Twitter about this. I've done a couple rants on the show about it. I don't think the manager matters too much. I can only bear with that monotone nonsense.
Can't be like that in the locker room, right?
I don't know. We talked to Sam LeCure, and I don't think he's much different than that. I really don't. Maybe he's a good vibe. Maybe if somebody has a headache, you go to David and you're like, David, can I please have a hug? I have a headache. Can you please hug me? He's like, yeah, I'll embrace you. Maybe that's David's role. He's just the caretaker. Because I can't do it for much longer. I'm not a fire David Bell guy. I don't think Freddie Benavides is the answer. I think if Freddie Benavides takes over this roster, I think all the frustration you have towards him, it goes right back to Freddie Benavides and nothing ever changes. I think after the season, if the Reds don't improve, and by God, it doesn't look like they're going to improve anytime soon, then yeah, you look to replace David Bell, which is unfortunate because you extended him last season. But I can only take that monotone nonsense for so long. I mean, it is. I don't know what else I want him to say because he's the manager of a team that sucks. So he can only say so much. He can't say, yeah, our guys are terrible. I've watched it night in, night out. I'm trying to do my best here, but the guys on the field aren't performing. If he does that, then the players hate him, and then he really doesn't have a job. So right now he's trying to stick up for his guys. He's trying to be calm, clearly. He couldn't be excited if you lit a firework in his ass.
Do you ever think I see it both ways, right? Like as a person that actually enjoyed playing for someone that didn't get all riled up and yell and scream all the time in the dugout, like I actually played better under kind of a basically leadership style like that. But I do think that there are certain players, and this is the thing that you can't judge David Bell on, and you'll never be able to judge any manager on because you don't have privy or access to what it actually looks like behind the scenes, and that's what you're really trying to judge, right? You're trying to judge or base your opinion on something that you don't get a chance to see at all. You'd like to think that the personality traits that you see in the post-game press conferences probably, somewhat emulate what you'd get behind closed doors.
Yep.
But that's never really been the case with David Bell. People have said that that's just the way that he is to the public. He tries to make sure that he doesn't step on anybody's toes. He doesn't want to irritate anybody. Those types of things with the players. And my question is like I genuinely think we all actually perform a little bit better when, unfortunately, I don't know why the psychology and the human brain is like this. Maybe not everybody, but most people work harder. They focus better when somebody really gets on them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that's the God's honest truth. If I came in here and screamed and yelled about how everybody needs to show up at a certain time, or I asked you super nicely, there's a good chance that you would keep the mindset of making sure you're here at a certain time longer if I screamed and yelled.
Correct.
Now, why that's the case, I don't know. But I just know that it doesn't mean that nice guys always finish last or anything like that. But I do think that there is something to be said about having a little fire from time to time. About just saying, you know what? I don't know what it is that you guys got to do at the plate or what we got to do at the plate, but it's got to be better. We can't continue to hang out to dry these starting pitching. Because that's the other thing, a part of this, that eventually will collapse. Winning fixes everything. Losing breaks everything.
Yeah.
I really do believe that. And I find ourselves in a position now where the Redlegs, they got to find some momentum here soon. Otherwise, the pitchers, you can say whatever you want about the culture, this, that, and the other. I don't know if you've seen the other night, but Justin Wilson was pissed giving the ball to David Bell. Now, maybe that's how it always is. Maybe if they were up 10 games over 500, he would have handed the ball off the same way to David Bell. But what I'm getting at is that there's going to be a breaking point between the starting pitching and the position players on figuring it out. Because if they continue to hang these starting pitching guys out to dry, they go out there, they give up 1, 2 runs, hell, heaven forbid, 3 runs in a game, and they continue to find themselves in a losing edition of their outing, they are going to get frustrated.
Yeah.
There's no other way to do it.
Well, and here's my thing, too. It's you're right about the screaming and yelling thing, and I think there's a time and a place to scream and yell, and it seems like when you lose every single night, that's about the time when you're like, all right, guys, something's got to change. It's the lack of urgency. And I don't know. I hope he's not like that in the locker room. I hope he's not like, well,
he is like that in the locker room, I will say, and I'm sure you're on the same page, that I can actually be like, all right, I'm not a big fan.
Correct. Because you're just okay with it. You're just okay with losing. It's, all right, guys, go out there, try your best. If you lose, we're all millionaires anyway, so what does it really matter? And it seems to me like David Bell, and maybe it's the culture that the Cincinnati Reds have just had over the past, 6 years now under David Bell. It's a lack of urgency. The last, I'm gonna read these off to you, and I'm not. This is not all on David Bell. I'm not a David Bell hater, but these are the last 6 starts under David Bell. 2019, 18 and 22. 2020, 18 and 22. 2021, 19 and 21. 2022, 12 and 28. 2023, 18 and 22. 2024, 17 and 23. How is it every single season you're dealing with the same issue? It's a lack of urgency. And again, I know half those teams didn't have players that were worth a damn. I get that. Yeah. But we're at a point where how many of these seasons can rack up in a row where there's just no urgency anywhere on the diamond? Because it seems to me like there's nothing. It's just like, yeah, I think we're good. We got to believe we're good, so we're going to be good. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know when we're going to show we're good or prove we're good or act like we're good, play like we're good. But hopefully it's sooner rather than later. And I think David Bell, unfortunately, the vibe that I get in every single monotone press conference he gets or gives is, yeah, it's going to be okay eventually. Sure. Can't get any worse, but it gets worse. Every single night you lose like this, it gets worse. I know people are going to kill Fernando Cruz last night for giving up, after getting 2 outs, gives up back-to-back doubles.
He's done it a couple times.
He's done it a couple times. He's pitched in the most high-leverage spots out of anybody in this bullpen. He's been good for a majority of that time. And he gave up a run.
2 good points in the chat really fast.
Yeah.
I'll read them both and we can have a discussion around it. He says, Real Spirit Cat says, if he hasn't streamed yet, right, or yelled yet, or gotten fiery in the clubhouse yet, there's no sense in it now. It'll come off as like he says is a bit, but I would say unauthentic or whatever term you'd like to use. That's more than fair. And then RM says David Bell has no problem yelling at the umpire. So I think that I like those 2 comments because David Bell, there's fire there.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it from an umpire standpoint, defending his guys more times than not. And I want to believe, maybe it's naive thinking, that I want to believe that he has that capability of making sure that he holds guys accountable because that's all we're really asking for. When you're saying, you want guys to yell or you want them to, throw some bats or whatever dumb antics it may be that us humans do from time to time to try to motivate people, all we're really begging for, all we're really asking for is that there's accountability. And right now, the best thing to hold people accountable is depth. And right now, there's not a lot of depth on this team, to be fair.
No.
And that's the thing that I would say. If there was 5 people that could line up and do the same job that Casey or you or me could do, and we knew they were lining up at the door, and we knew that they would do damn near anything to take our jobs, there's a sense there that we both have of knowing that we have to be a top performer. Same concept with any time you have a backup or a quarterback situation in football, which we'll talk about on the next segment here on 1410 Wing AM. Is that inevitably you must be accountable and you must show up. Otherwise, you're not going to have the position that you have. Now, I do think that there is some unhealthiness to the idea of always having someone look over your shoulder. So there is this delicate balance here. But it does feel like the Reds are in a position where things are going to have to change and they're going to have to change fast. And it almost seems like, I don't want to guarantee they need to do this, but it almost seems like they're going to have to sweep a team that they never had any business of even winning the series.
Let's go.
Los Angeles.
Let's go.
So sometimes you can complain about playing tough teams right now, but sometimes that's the only opportunity to dig yourself out of a hole. To do something you never thought possible. So hell, why not take all 4 of them? Just take all 4 of them, come back home, and we'll find a way to live another day.
That's right.
All right, when we come back on 1410 Wing AM, we're going to get into the Bengals schedule. We'll talk about the NFL. A lot of schedule releases. Get into that. If you haven't seen them, maybe you should. That and more on 1410 Wing AM. We'll be right back. Dun, 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 dun. I'm not very good at it. I know that Casey can do it. Casey's a football guy. Give me one of the jingles. Sunday night football, Monday night football, Thursday night football. The choice is yours. Take it away.
It's
actually really good.
How about that? How about that?
Unbelievable.
You got the
Speaking of which, we just got straight ripped off TikTok for that.
Yeah,
100%.
well,
We've done lost it.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
the David Bell clip that might have done it too. Either way, doesn't really matter. Shout out to anybody on TikTok.
Yeah, I think.
Do you see any?
Speaking of which, Nick Kirby's going to be very, very, very
Yeah,
upset
but-
at you guys.
Yeah, but I don't.
I
know
think he had
another-
like one rule. It was like no clips.
Yeah, but there's no other way to do it really because
I think I
You
got
just
an
summarize
idea.
I gotta
what he
play.
said.
I gotta play
Can I have an
David Bell
idea?
audio.
Can I have an idea live on air here?
Yeah.
This is a little inside baseball and chatterbox. I say we just put up the picture. We put up a picture of David Bell and we
Yeah, but I
run the
think-
audio.
But I think the YouTube algorithm still gets that audio.
Well, we can at least try it. You know,
Okay,
we
we
can
can
never
run-
know.
You don't have to run the audio. You just give a summary of what he said.
Well, no, but I'd like to hear. I'd like
Yeah,
to
we're
hear
gonna
him
hear
say
it here.
I-
To be fair, we'll meet in the middle on this. We'll try the picture, and if that doesn't work,
we
try
could
it.
not have done that last segment if I just reiterated.
I
what
could
he
have
did.
done it. I could have done it. You give me the monologue. You give me the script. I'll do the monologue for David Bell from now on. It'll be
Okay.
You ready? It'll
Yeah.
be this. Well, we went out there. We played really hard. We tried our best, and the other pitcher, he threw the ball over the plate. You got to give him credit. I mean, he threw a slider. Did you see the sliders he was throwing for strikes? I mean, those were strikes he was throwing. What do you expect us to do? Anyway.
Okay.
All right, Bengals schedule.
Poor David.
I don't know how we want to do this. I don't know. We have a graph. I'm sure you can get a graphic up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
But
get a graphic.
By the way, I want to end. I know you're going to talk real quick. I want to end the show. All three of us give record predictions, early record predictions
All right.
for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Fair enough.
Because I'm very excited.
Wow,
for
what a
that.
tease that is.
That is a
Now
tease.
you can't go anywhere. We got you locked in. You got to stay in for the rest of the remaining of the show. So there is that.
There it is. Go ahead. You were saying something before I interrupted.
No, I was just going to say that the Bengals released their schedule, and
They
it
did.
seems as if they have an opportunity. Because I'm going to say it like that. I don't think that they should. I think that there are folks out there right now that are demanding that they get off to a quote unquote hot start. But the front third of their schedule
Sure.
looks like it gives them an opportunity to get off to a good start. The other thing I wanted to mention that was very, very important is the bye week. I don't know if that's something that's been discussed a whole lot, but the bye week, there's kind of a sweet spot for the bye week, right? It's like
Yeah.
between weeks 10 to 13 and 14. That's somewhere in there is when you want that bye.
That's right.
The Bengals, they got a good bye. They got a good bye. What is that week? I'm not able to
12.
see it here. You can put
Yeah,
the schedule
yeah,
up.
let's put it
Casey.
up and we'll read it one by one.
Yeah, let's do that. For the radio audience, if you've not got a chance, Elliot, I'm going to let you read through this just largely
Yeah.
because of, I don't have 20/20 vision anymore. I'm getting old.
So week one, we're starting off with the New England Patriots, 1 p.m. Love that start. Absolutely love it.
Couldn't have asked for an easier game, week one.
Week two, it's a quick little test with the Kansas City Chiefs. Everybody knows the Chiefs, our rivalry with the Chiefs, and it is in Kansas City. We knew that coming into yesterday.
I have a quick question before we go over to the more. Have they decided to not play divisional games weeks 1 and 2 anymore for
No,
the whole
because-
entire league, or
No,
is this
because-
just a Bengals thing?
Yeah, well, no, we did it last year.
Well, I'm saying this year.
Well, I don't.
We'll dig through it. We'll see.
I'll look through some
I'll
other
take it.
schedules. But going back to the graphic here, the Commanders are week 3. Respectfully, terrible team. We have the Panthers, week 4. Respectfully, terrible team. You have the Ravens in week 5. That's Sunday at 1 p.m. And by the way, that Commanders game was at Monday. I forgot to say that.
Yeah.
That was my bad. The Ravens play at 1 p.m. That is week 5. In week 6, we have a Sunday night football game with the New York Football Giants. Easy game. Now I'm going to stop right there real quick. Patriots, Commanders, Panthers, Giants, all in the first 6 weeks, Trace. If there is ever a year to not start 2-4, it is this year. If they start 2-4 this season, I'm going to call it over. Because at this point, I mean, that we couldn't have been given a bigger gift by the NFL. in
There's
those 6 weeks.
always the chance, though, that you run into a team that is significantly better than what they're advertised. It's 100% a thing in
Correct.
the NFL. You never know who it's going to be. I was going to say, let's have a little bit of fun here. We're going to have some fun talking NFL because we
Yeah.
don't get a chance to talk about them a whole lot. Never does the NFL get brought up on this show.
No, never.
Of the 4 teams that you just mentioned that you think are going to be terrible, which of the 4 actually proposes the most difficult task to win?
Probably the Commanders. Commanders or Giants, one of those two.
I'd say Commanders.
I would
think they have the biggest unknown.
I would agree. I think Commanders are probably closer. They've got a decent roster. They've got a decent offensive roster, that is. So that's my sleeper. I don't know who's going to be quarterbacking the Giants because I think they're pretty much out on Danny Dimes.
Danny Dimes has to be the guy.
He has to be.
You can't pay a guy.
But I don't know. They've been saying that they don't like Danny Dimes anymore. So we'll
They better like him. You can't pay a guy like that and then not like him.
To be fair to you, Elliot, about the 2-4 thing, I don't think the Bengals have ever started 2-4 with Joe Burrow.
That's fair.
Except for maybe his rookie year.
Just a couple 1-3s.
Yeah.
A couple 1-3s. If you start 1-3, that might be worse than 2-4. 1-3 is abysmal.
Yeah, 1-3.
I mean, there's a real chance
tough.
they could start 1-3 though. Like it's not like the season's over if they started 1-3.
It is.
it is.
No,
it's not.
Look, throw the graphic
Listen,
back
hang
up.
on.
Throw the graphic back up.
Let me throw this up. If they're 1-3, which of the teams are they beating? And which of the 3 teams are they losing
I was thinking
to?
1-2, to be fair. But they could be 1-3 if they were to beat the Patriots. No, they're not going to be 1-3.
They're not.
Yeah,
If they're 1-3, it's over, man.
It's not over. They can rebound. Come on.
But
No, because
they would-
that's the thing. That's the thing where the Reds, like, eventually you are just who you are. And if you can't beat the Patriots, Commanders, or Panthers, I'm sorry. I mean, that's brutal. You
Yeah,
can't
I
beat-
was thinking to myself when I said 1-3, I was really thinking 1-2. My brain just wasn't operating at the capacity that I would like it to. But 1-2 is what I was thinking. You could drop to the Chiefs, obviously, and then you slip up against maybe Washington. But again, I just don't see it. You're playing Monday Night Football at home. You're gonna have some cool whiteout or
stripes or the
something's gonna
whiteout,
be
yeah.
cool. Does that matter? You think? Like, I don't know. It feels like it does.
What do you mean? Does
Yeah, it gets
the
people
white
fired
matter?
up.
Yeah, like a Sunday at 1:00 game, you feel more confident about than a Monday Night Football game when you got the stripes. It feels like the Monday Night Football game, you feel like you got it in the bag,
I think there's more energy for the Monday night game.
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
I think there's a lot more energy. For
which is
that.
kind of wild if you think
Yeah.
about it. Because why? Because the gas prices are just the same on Sunday at noon as
That's
they are
right.
on Monday night.
That's
and
right.
The other thing that's wild about
That's
that is
right.
that most people have to actually go to work on Tuesday morning.
That's right. But here's the thing: if you're within 2 games of a playoff spot and it's October or it's September, gas prices are even higher, and that's
That's
a
right.
fact.
Yep.
Shout out to the Reds.
It's almost like they look at the MLB standings in September and they're like, "Go,
you talk
raise the oil prices."
about you talk about bad attendance. You're about to see some bad attendance if they don't
Oh,
take
boy.
a game from this Dodgers.
Yes, they.
Continuing on, though, after the Giants in Week 6, that's on the road for Sunday Night Football. You have another road game with the Cleveland Browns, Sunday at 1 p.m. Going from there, you have the Eagles at home, which I like a lot. 4:25 game. Love it, love it, love it. I'm sure that'll be Fox, right? No, if it's home, it'll be CBS, so I guess I'm wrong. The Raiders at home right after them. That's a 1 p.m. game as well in Week 9. Week 10, you have the Ravens again on Thursday Night Football in Baltimore.
Yeah, it's tough.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. How we get 2, and I don't mean to spoil it, but you can see it right there. How we have 2 Thursday Night Football games against divisional opponents. I'll never understand it. I don't get it. Those are 2 very important games that you're putting on a day which is unanimously known as to be the biggest joke in the NFL. Nobody wants to play on Thursday. The players hate it. The coaches hate it. The media hates it. Everybody hates it. But yet we have our arguably of our 2 of our biggest games on that day. Whatever. Continuing on from there, we have Week 11. We have the San Diego Chargers on the road. 4:25 game on Sunday. Then we have our bye week, and that is a great time for a bye week. I'm not going to lie. If you're gonna schedule a bye week, nobody wants a bye week in that first 10-week stretch. You want it for the second half, the back half, when the games get good. So shout out to us for having a good bye week. Week 12, Week 13, you have the Steelers at home. That is a 1 p.m. game, December 1st. You travel on the road on Monday night to Dallas, the Dallas Cowboys. Again, 5 primetime games for the Cincinnati Bengals. I did not think it would be 5 primetime games. My number was 3. I think you were going to get one of the each, the Thursday, Sunday, and Monday. No, we're getting 2 Mondays and 2 Thursdays as well as a Sunday night.
Yep.
And that's without knowing what's going to happen in the last week with the Steelers. So, continuing on, we have the Titans on the road. We're going back to Tennessee. That is a 1 p.m. game. Week 16, I believe that is. Do you have the Thursday night game I talked about against Cleveland? Another divisional game? Yep, go ahead.
Let me jump in here real quick because that December 9th game versus the Cowboys starts a 10-day stretch where they play 3 games in a row in 10 days. Monday night, Sunday, and then Thursday night football against the Browns. That is a brutal stretch. Tough opponents right there. Very, very strong opponents there.
I want to talk. We'll talk about that in a bit. We'll talk about that probably next segment because I want your thoughts on it. because the Twitterverse was fired up about it, and I think I am a little bit too. So we have the Browns Thursday Night Football, and that finishes off the 11-day stretch of hell, as Casey just said. You finish off with, and what I think are 2 winnable games, with the Broncos at home, Steelers on the road. You don't know when those games are yet. They could be flexed.
Speaking of the bye week, shout out to Caleb Doe. Something I took, I basically bookmarked. Find something I think is interesting, I'll bookmark it. But anyway, he said the number one of the thing to look for in the NFL schedule release is placement of the bye week. Bye weeks can be anywhere from week 5 through 14. In the last 10 years, every Super Bowl winner, they had a bye week between 7 and 13. Half, 5 of the last 10 have had a bye week in weeks 10 or 11. Weeks 10 or 11 is a sweet spot. Weeks 5, 6, and 14 is no man's land. So it is true, because you find yourself in a position during the NFL season where guys get banged up. You need a little bit of a break. If you get it in week 5, it's like way too early in the season to actually be able to take advantage of kind of there being some people banged up. And then if you have it towards the very end of the season, it kind of feels like all is already lost. You're kind of playing with men down, etc. And there's a little bit of a mental bearing that comes with the NFL as well, to where you go too long in the NFL without getting a little bit of a chance of a reprieve, and you don't play as well. So, shout out to Caleb Doe for doing some research on that. Bengals find themselves perfectly within that window. They are, I believe they're 11 there, or 12? 12. So they're right around it. Not perfect. Not 10 or 11 is a sweet spot, but they're pretty close. So beats 14. All right, when we come back, we will talk about the 3 games in 10 days. Does the NFL actually even care about players? That and more on 1410 Wing AM. All right, Casey, we are 10:58 today. By the way, some are saying, not me, of course. Some are saying, smooth show. If we're not throwing a perfect game, we're throwing a one-hitter.
That's right.
Yeah, David Bell would be impressed.
David Bell would be impressed. Who do you think, going back to your very first question in that first segment, do you think David Bell and Freddie Benavides, do you think they are the Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen of Cincinnati?
No. I'm afraid to say that Benny kind of he ruined that.
I would say so.
Yeah, Benavides looks, seems, sounds, acts like a great guy, though. Not going to get on him by any stretch of the imagination. He's thrown in a tough spot. He didn't know he was going to have to manage. David Bell got sick, and they were like, hey, Freddie, you're in.
That's right.
And he wasn't ready. Well, maybe he was ready. It just didn't work out for him.
That's right.
The iPad was frozen.
That's right. The iPad was indeed frozen. Casey, we have some ads.
Yeah, we got some ads to do. Let's talk about Encore Technologies.
Please.
Talk about it.
They provide IT solutions for a data-centered world with a suite of services from mobile computing, desktop to data center, supporting both centralized and work-from-home computing modules to improve efficiency and
PRODUCTIVITY
productivity. Visit encore.tech. The path to innovation begins there.
Where?
There.
Where?
There.
I think it's here.
Yeah, it doesn't
Oh,
begin
it's
there.
here?
It doesn't
Yeah.
The path
begin,
to innovation begins
it
here.
doesn't begin there. It begins here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Exactly.
It's never began there.
Never. There's a difference between there and here, Casey.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know.
There is a big difference.
Yeah.
I'll never make that mistake again.
Very big difference.
Yeah.
Massive.
It's here. Right here.
Exactly.
You know where right here is? Hamilton, Ohio, and they produce one of the best bottled waters in the
What a
world.
transition.
Great.
Some are
Tonic
saying
water.
big league.
Great.
Made right here in Hamilton, Ohio. Mm-hmm. Uses natural limestone filtration, unlike the artificial processing that other
unlike
brands use, resulting in a healthy alkaline water, and some say the best tasting water in the world. Visit Pawnee Water at PAHNIwater.com so you can buy this great tasting water.
Be like Big Perk, Kendrick Perkins. Big Pawnee Water guy Kendrick Perkins is. So are we here at Chatterbox Sports.
That's right.
That's right.
Big news coming in the final segment of the show. If I can remember to remember when the final segment is. That's
by
half
the way,
battle.
two more segments
to go.
I do have one other thing to
Casey,
say.
please enlighten us.
We got our first chili on TikTok.
What?
Really?
Can you explain to me what a chili is?
A chili is like a donation, but it's just a little badge, right? They just send you a little thing. There's galaxies, there's chilies, there's whatever. Reed Mouse says, here's a chili for Elly Rue.
Wow. Our own guys.
That's right.
Wait, so our own guy gave us a chili?
Yeah,
That's
I feel
right.
like that's a fake chili.
Yeah, it's not a real chili.
why?
But
Well,
that's
our
okay.
first
It's
one.
a chili. Reed's a person too.
He just lost money on that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's our
The
first
net
chili,
worth
though.
of Chatterbox is actually going down.
No.
Actually, that's not true.
No, it did.
I think it's a good idea, actually.
Because it takes a little off the
here's
top.
here's the business plan. We'll pay you guys, then you pay us back.
Yeah.
And then we'll pay you. It'll be a never-ending cycle. We'll always
Yeah,
have
but-
our jobs.
Yeah, but the TikTok takes a little bit off the top, so they take a little fee.
That's what
so
it
you'll
is.
never get back to
That's
even.
the real problem.
Yeah.
You'll never get back to
Yeah.
even.
As a guy that pays for the Leader of Men membership, I'm already doing that, Trace. So
You're just getting your own money back, baby.
What can
That's
you
what I
do?
like to hear.
What can you do?
Let's get back into the show.
Yeah.
Let's do 5 seconds of silence and get right back.
Sorry. Go.
All right, back in hour number 2 on Off the Bench. Presented by United Dairy Farmers. Casey, do you know why they're called the United Dairy Farmers?
No, why don't you enlighten us why they're called the United Dairy Farmers?
Because they're farmers and they are all united. You know where the
Wow.
dairy comes from?
Where?
Cows.
Good ice cream.
Oh.
Well, cows too. Yeah, that's kind of a big part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, you big dairy guy? You're not lactose intolerant?
No, I am not lactose intolerant. I've been blessed, very blessed in my life to have one superpower.
Yeah.
The superpower is this. Last night I got some snacks before I went to bed, and I had to put them on my nightstand.
Yeah.
I woke up this morning to my alarm. I look over at my nightstand, and I had a giant box, something that you would get no free ads like at Sam's Club or
Sure.
Costco or one of the places where you just get a massive.
Yeah.
I had peanut M&Ms, no free ads, and I also had the sweet tart mini chews that I also very, very highly suggest.
Yeah.
And I just woke up and I thought to myself, I've done this my whole life. I've eaten whatever I wanted. I've not had any allergies. I've never had to go into a restaurant and demand or ask for them to do something special.
Yeah.
And all of those things are a blessing. And I've been that's my superpower. I've been pretty much the same weight since my senior year of high school. Maybe, I worked. I don't say I worked out. They forced me to work out in college for baseball, so I put on some mass there. But I'm about $190, $195 every day of my life, and there's really nothing that makes it fluctuate.
How about that? Listen, I hate to interrupt that story, and shout out to you for being the world's perfect human.
I didn't say that.
We do have breaking.
What do we have?
We have breaking news.
We do?
Casey informed me of this.
Breaking news at 11:04, which is probably let's do the radio calculation. It is 1 something.
Oh, I mean,
2 something.
What time does our show start over there?
Well, let's not do this on my live air.
It's-
We're
yeah,
going to be
it's
way
2.
off.
I don't.
It's gonna be at 2.
Yeah, 2.
2:04.
I don't even know if I believe it. Breaking news. The name of the new joint streaming service for Fox, ESPN, and Warner Brothers Discovery, Venue Sports, and it will launch this fall. So ESPN, Fox, and Warner Bros., they are combining to make Venue Sports.
Nice.
That'll be a brand new app, which some would call cable.
Some would say that's a monopoly, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to get into the weeds of all this. I just don't care enough to probably consume enough of my brain power to figure out if it's a monopoly or not a monopoly. I will say I am very excited if it means I get all of my sports channels on one thing and I can drop cable. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
I'm not watching the Food Network. I'm not watching, quite honestly, I'm almost not watching anything other than TNT, your local channels for sports.
That's right.
And ESPN and Fox. Am I missing anything?
No, I don't think
Do you think that they're going to include? Do you think they're going to include the RSNs?
That is, help me out, RSNs.
Am I gonna have to help you out?
Yeah.
The regional sports networks. Do you think that
No,
we're gonna get
they will not.
Bally's
No,
or
no,
anything
no,
like
no.
that?
They will
No?
not. They will not get that. Because I think those are dead anyway, right? I think that's going to go somewhere else as well.
Yeah,
I do think though that if you do this, the ESPN Plus and all that nonsense, that just gets into this, right? Or do I have to cancel that subscription?
I think this
What's
is
the plan? Or is there going to be an ESPN? You have to have the ESPN Plus as long with the venue sports.
No, what's correct? I think what you're gonna get is you're gonna get ESPN Plus, FS1. What are the other ones that are combining?
So the Warner Brothers is that.
It's Warner Brothers, Fox, and
Warner
ESPN.
Brothers is TNT, right?
Yeah.
TNT.
So you're gonna get the TNT coverage of NBA and all that. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Right, and they're pretty much taking all the major sports that have the rights to those sports. Yeah.
Yep.
And they're putting them underneath one umbrella. I would be shocked if ESPN Plus is included in that. I think this is going to be for the vast majority of people that watch sports, I
Yeah.
think, are professional sports watchers. They're not watching ESPN Plus more times than not. That's for the college crowd and for the parents of people that probably want to watch.
They
their
got
kids
NFL
play.
games on those now, though.
I don't have NFL games on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, they do. They have.
Well, if
the.
it's on ESPN Plus, it's on ESPN. That's what I'm getting at. It's not behind the paywall.
No,
yet.
but it is. But it is. It's the Germany games. I think those are on ESPN Plus last year.
Oh.
We also got another breaking news.
Like
Oh.
This is the breaking news segment.
Official release date for the college sports football game.
Oh,
July 19th.
really?
So that's coming up.
How about that?
I gotta figure out how to make that work here.
July 19th. That's big. Good for them. Yeah, I don't know what the TV thing, because there's also I lost my train of thought just then as I started talking about
That's
it.
not good. How old are you?
And they have that's the second stutter of the day.
It's okay.
Casey, do we have a stutter? Do we have a stutter meter?
No.
No.
They announced Netflix will be doing 2 games as well. So now you will have Peacock, you will have Netflix, you will have ESPN Plus, and whatever the hell is going on here with all this nonsense.
All right. So we talk about time and time again in here about how if you went and asked our great grandparents what sport was going to dominate for the rest of time,
Yeah.
baseball was the sport, without question. Right? They
Yeah.
would have never guessed in a million years that baseball would become as least, I don't want to say the least popular sport, but they are dropping in popularity in this country. There's going to be a time, I'm telling you, because everything's cyclical. We all know this. It's been a story tried and true for too long, that at some point the NFL is going to do something that people are it's going to turn them off, and something's going to, I don't know what it is, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they stand the test of time. Maybe they're like Coca-Cola, where it just powers on through. They are recession proof. There has not been a time where you thought Coca-Cola's in trouble. Not a single time. So shout out to Coca-Cola, free ad. But maybe they are like that. But I have a hard time believing that it will be that case, because the vast majority of the time, 99.8% of the time, things go out of business. The NFL, in my opinion, this is where they're going to get themselves in trouble.
They're going to start losing it.
You get too greedy. You find yourself asking people to pay for 6 different services to watch all the playoff games.
Yeah.
You're going to lose some people. I got to be honest. I'm not signing up to watch the Dolphins play the Chiefs again.
Yeah.
I'm just not doing it.
Neither am I.
I've seen enough of Tua as is. I don't need to see him anymore.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think at some point you do run the risk of people getting frustrated and just being like, it's too hard. Because the most important thing that I think that there is in all of business and all of essentially sports business is how easy it is to watch. Baseball went wrong when they decided to try to make it so damn difficult to figure out how you can watch your favorite team play that now it's like, well, you're blacked out here, you're blacked out there. Oh, you live 5 hours away? Doesn't matter. You still can't watch the games. That's a problem. And it's going to become a problem for the NFL at some point. And I'm not saying it's this year.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound the alarm and act like this is a big deal that they got a game on ESPN Plus here and a game on Peacock here and a game on Netflix here and a game on Disney Plus there. I mean, we can go down the whole laundry list of things.
Amazon. We forgot Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon. And I know that there's joint ventures with Disney Plus and ESPN Plus and all that. But my point still stands. You got to make the game in the product as consumable as possible to as many people as possible. And the thing that, they're going the opposite direction that I said that I would go, which is, and I still think that you can kind of teeter with this and toy with the idea. I thought when YouTube TV or Google, for lack of a better term, purchased the Sunday ticket, I would love to see what they would do. I mean, think about the popularity of football and how popular it would become. And maybe it's impossible to make that much money back, and they already are professionals at making money. We know that. But how much money would they have to sell in advertising to make it worth this? But if you just put some of these games on YouTube, just make them free to the world, you would grow the game significantly. Really.
I think you're right. I do think when you add 7 different streaming services and people are trying to figure out where to watch these games, you're going to have an issue at some point. I think what's going to eventually happen, they're going to make a deal with just one of these guys, either Amazon or God knows, maybe the NFL does it themselves. Maybe the NFL just says, if you want NFL games, you buy the NFL streaming package. You'll get any game. You can either get your team's games, all of your team's games, or you can get every game in the NFL. It'll basically be like the Sunday ticket plus some. And I think that is probably where they'd go eventually. In like 10 years, I bet it's just like there's a one-stop shop where every NFL game is just on one single platform, every game this season.
It'd be nice. We have this is the breaking news segment, by the way.
Breaking news,
We
Casey.
have more breaking news, Casey. You want me to read it?
Jared Goff. He has now the biggest signing bonus in NFL history at $73 million.
Absurd.
That's absurd. Congrats, though. I mean, I guess the Fords never really paid their players to begin with anyways. That's why they sucked for as long as they did. So they had all that money backed up and saved up for Jared Goff.
They're slinging them 150s everywhere.
What could you imagine what your reaction would have been if Joe Burrow had a $75 million signing bonus?
I mean, guaranteed money and signing bonuses. The signing bonus gets you out of the cap stuff, right? Is that right? I mean, I'm not a big cap person.
Be right. That can't be right. Is that right, Casey?
I'm fairly confident it is. You can get
that has nothing to do with the cap.
The signing bonus, I believe, has a different hit to the cap than a normal.
That's correct.
Contract, yeah.
That's correct.
So it's just once again, we'll find ways to manipulate the system. Smart people. Really, really intellectual, big business people. Let me tell you, you can write all the laws in the world if you want. Guess what? They got lawyer friends, and the lawyer friends are probably the ones that are making the laws in the first place.
That's right.
So there's always going to be a loophole for somebody. But Jared Goff signing for that much money, the question is that even anything to get worked up over? I don't know if it is. And again, here we find ourselves in a position in the NFL where the quarterback position, boy, does it just continue to inflate. Does this bubble ever burst? I thought the most preposterous thing that I was going to see this season, at least over the next few months, was that J.J. McCarthy was going to get drafted in the first 10 picks of the NFL draft.
Yeah.
And it turns out that now we got a position where Jared Goff, a guy that literally got kicked out of his own building after going to a Super Bowl of all things, left that building, and then they won the Super Bowl when he left. Now finds him in a position where he gets to pay the most money in the NFL history for a signing bonus.
Did you see the Colin Cowherd segment yesterday?
No, I only watched this show.
There was a good plug. There was a segment on the Colin Cowherd show yesterday where he was debating who would he rather have over Jared Goff, and Joe Burrow's name came up.
Oh, I did see this.
And you know what he said?
I did see
this. He
this.
said Joe Burrow's better than Goff, but Goff stays on the field, so I'm taking Goff. Reed's not in here to go against his guy Colin Cowherd here, but I'll say this. I think that's a silly take by Colin. That's a nonsensical take.
Jared Goff has proven, though, to be fair, that he can get you to a position that allows you or gives you a chance to win a Super Bowl. You gotta have a good team around him. That's the thing. You can't carry him.
Yeah, him and Brock Purdy, same guy.
Let me correct something earlier that I said that's not entirely true.
Oh.
It does. So the signing bonus does count against the cap, but the signing bonus isn't money all up front. It's just money guaranteed that can spread out throughout the contract, even past the contract years. So it's probably going to be spread out throughout the.
So you can do it. You can spread it out for like I don't want to say an unlimited amount of years, but I wonder if there's like a year. Could you imagine that being the next thing? Like you You could do the old Dodgers trick where you're like, we're going to sign him for $1 billion, and he's got a $980 million signing bonus that we're going to pay him in cash now, but it's going to hit the cap hit's going to be $2 million for the next 150 years. Don't know if that math adds up, by the way. But all right, when we come back, big news. Last segment of the day, big news. We'll share it right after this on 1410 Wing AM. All right, welcome back in for the last 15 minutes. Some are going to say it's the best 15 minutes that you will hear on the radio for the entire month of May. I didn't say that. That's what some are saying.
That's what some are saying. We went that whole segment, by the way, without talking about the Bengals schedule, which I thought was pretty impressive.
Well, that's not true at all.
We had a bunch of breaking news.
That's not true at all. We had breaking news left and right.
Well, I didn't get your guys' opinion on the 3 games in 10 days thing.
You said we were going to use my opinion on the 3 games in 10 days is that's the part of the NFL. And like I said before, you get greedy, eventually it breaks. This is part of that. I think for a league that preaches player safety, I think having 3 games in 11 days is reckless.
All right. Well, and now you have.
Let me ask you something.
And now you have 4 days.
Let me ask
or
you
4
something.
teams that are dealing with the same exact thing.
Do you know what the NFL and a Walmart greeter have in common? They lie. They don't care about how your day is. Okay, that's what Walmart told you that they had to say.
I think that's disrespectful to a Walmart greeter.
Oh, it's not. I'm just telling you the truth. If you think genuinely that person cares about how your day goes when you're exiting Walmart, you're wrong. And if you think the NFL gives a absolute any 1 iota care about how these players' safety concerns go, they don't. Now they got to make sure they do the song and dance. Like you got to. It's the old corporate model, baby. Everybody dress up in suit and ties. Let's sit around a mahogany desk and talk about our problems, and then we'll figure out what everybody can act like they care about, and then we'll all go home and complain to our spouse about our day behind the mahogany desk in our suits, making a lot of money, and we hate our lives. Sorry if that's your life, but I know I just explained it for at least 98% of executives. So, I mean, that's why you watch the show. That's the truth.
That's fair.
So we're not going to sit here and we're not going to waste our time on this show talking about whether Roger Goodell and the NFL actually care even a single bit about player safety, and they go to prove it by doing what? They play 3 games in 10 days.
Yeah, that's right. At least they're truthful about their gambling stuff. Yeah. They don't care about gambling whatsoever. Like unlike the MLB, who preaches that they care, and then they sign all these deals with sportsbooks. But go ahead, Casey.
Yeah, I mean the one thing I'll kind of just add on to that, what Trace said, is it would be one thing if it was one team dealing with this, but there's out of just the small little research I did. The Steelers, the Ravens, and the Chiefs all have 3 games in 10 days, just like the Bengals do. And I think it's actually normal from what the normal NFL schedule is to have an 11-day period where you play 3 games in, which, I mean, are we really going to fight over another day taken away? I guess we can, but it's just where the NFL's going. They just want more money, and they're going to stuff in these primetime games wherever they can. Ravens and Steelers, they got stuck with the Wednesday games, which is a little bit different than. I think that's honestly a little more brutal than what the Bengals are going to have to do for the Thursday night stuff. But saying that, those teams also get those mini bye weeks with all those Thursday night games that the Bengals have to play. They get 2 now 10-day breaks to prepare for those next games, which is what I wanted to talk about. Chargers versus and the Broncos are the games that they would play after those mini bye weeks. So you can look at it like it's a bad thing, but you can also take the good from it and say that's a couple mini bye weeks here. You get that week 12 bye week there. So it's really like you get a break early, your bye week, and then a break late. So
yeah, it's the same amount of time off. It's just a matter of the windows of the time that you get. And I was going to say, wait until you think it's bad now. Wait until they got to go to Brazil and then Mexico City. And then they're going to have to go to who knows where they're going to go. Maybe they'll go to Antarctica to play a game at some point.
That would be
and
great.
They'll do that within They'll do that within 12 days.
That'd be great. Buffalo Bills playing the Antarctica game. They lock that up. They play great in the cold.
Yeah.
Except when it's in the
Actually,
playoffs.
I think Cincinnati Bengals play the best in the cold.
Really? Freezer Bowl.
The best in the snow, at least.
Bengals versus
The most
Bills.
memorable thing in Cincinnati in the last 10 years is that game.
Bengals versus Bills, the Battle of Antarctica. So
Yeah.
there's that.
Whoever wins has to stay.
That's right.
Or loses has to stay.
So here's what we're gonna do now. Casey, we're gonna pull up that schedule graphic. I said we were gonna do it. What we're gonna do, every single game of this schedule, us three, we're gonna vote. There's
Yes.
gonna be the
You gonna keep tabs on this?
I'm gonna keep tabs on this.
All right.
The third vote is the
Yes.
deciding of what our record will
All
be.
right.
You understand
fair
what I'm
enough.
saying?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it quickly
so
too.
Here we go. Patriots. I'm gonna vote we win that one.
Yeah, win. So put a W in the win column.
Okay. Then we take on the Chiefs. Trace, why don't you lead us off there?
I'm gonna say that you lose.
I'm gonna say loss as well.
All right, 1-1.
Tough guys.
All right. Then we have the Commanders.
Win.
That's Monday night
Gotta win.
at home. I'm gonna say win.
Win.
Okay. We have the Panthers on the road in Week 4.
That's gotta be a win too.
Win. Gotta be a win. You can't
Win.
beat them. It's a bad start to the season.
Ravens at home.
I'm gonna say that this is their one of the first wins in the AFC North.
I'm gonna say loss.
I'm gonna say loss.
Yeah. They don't beat divisional opponents. Giants. We have Sunday Night Football on the road.
That's gotta be a win too.
I think it has to be a win.
Okay. Doesn't
You
matter.
would have said loss.
Well, I think that there was a chance.
All right. Browns on the road, 1 p.m.
This I think is where they lose their first AFC North game on the road.
I think they win this game.
I think they lose it. So it's a loss.
Wow. All right. Guys, no
that-
faith in your team.
We have the Philadelphia Eagles at home, 425.
Win.
I think this is the team that has the biggest drop off in the NFL. There's always one team that everyone thinks is going to be good, and then they're absolutely terrible. I think it's going to be the Eagles. I'm going to say that they lose, or they
win.
beat
the
Eagles. The Eagles lose.
Raiders at home. I'm going to say win.
That's a win too.
All right. Then we have the Ravens Thursday night in Baltimore.
I mean, if we didn't give them the win at home earlier on, I don't see how we can win in Baltimore. Their record in primetime divisional games at home is 11 or 12-2 or something like that in the last couple of years. So I'm going to say this is an L.
I'm going to say it's a big fat L as well.
I think they win that game.
Chargers on the road.
I'm going to say that's a win.
I say this is a loss.
I'm going to go loss as well.
What are we doing?
Steelers at home. Steelers at home, 1 p.m.
That's got to be a win. You got to win an AFC North game at some point.
Loss.
This is at home.
I'm gonna say they'll win at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cowboys
their
Monday Night
quarterback.
Football in Dallas. Loss.
Loss.
Golly, guys. I mean, this is a horrible
No,
prediction.
we're doing fine still.
Nah, that's pretty good.
Titans on the road.
It's a tough game.
This is a win.
What makes you so confident?
This has got to be a win. This is a team that picked in the top 7 in the draft this year.
It's
Well,
a revenge.
how'd you fare against them last year?
They didn't score. Revenge game for Callahan and Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd,
Oh yeah, I forgot about
14
that.
catches, 400 yards. Breaks the single game record. Titans win that one.
You guys are a joke.
I'm gonna say that they win that game.
Titans or Bengals?
Bengals win.
Bengals win.
Bengals win.
Okay. That's good. Browns at home on Thursday night.
Browns? I
I
think that they lose to the Browns at home on Thursday night.
They're going to win. They have to win a AFC North game at some point, right?
That's the thing, though. They don't, and they lose this one, too. So we move on.
is a
We
joke.
move on.
This is a joke.
We move on to the Denver Broncos at home.
They win.
They win.
They win.
All right.
And then
finally,
they lose in
so-
Pittsburgh? Okay.
Hold on, let me count our record before that. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 9 wins. We've had 9 wins heading into that
joke.
game.
Yep.
So that game is a fight pretty much for the postseason.
What a joke.
We'll start with you, Casey. Do you think we win that one to get into the postseason?
Again, one of the things I'm going to bring up stats and analytics here. Teams usually in the AFC North don't play well at their opponent's home stadium. And I don't
Key
think
word there is usually.
I don't think that. I mean,
Sounds like you're gonna say it's a loss.
I'm gonna just say that they win because if this is how the season goes, Joe Burrow's gonna show up and play.
I say they win this game.
They win. Okay. So that's 10 wins.
Yeah.
That's a 10-win season by the Bengals, and people in the chat are like, "You guys are ridiculous. How dare you find 10 wins on this schedule?"
Only
They play
had
in the
9 wins going
Hey guys,
into the
they
last
play
game
in the
of the
hardest
year.
division, and they won one mercy rule game last season in the division.
Elliot,
That's
are you
why I didn't have
telling
them
me-
winning a division game.
Elliot, are you
because they
telling
quite
me-
literally didn't win one last
Are
year.
you telling me that they only improved by one flipping game with the easiest schedule they've had in like years?
I think they.
With the last place schedule,
I think they go 1-5 in the division again. I don't think that's a crazy statement because they just did it.
Yeah, with a backup quarterback. They lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers by like less than a touchdown.
Colton says 10 wins is the worst thing ever.
Let's be very clear here. 10 wins is a good season, okay? It's not a great season. It's a good season. And the other thing I would want to add to this is I don't think they're going to go 1-5 in the division. I had them
I
winning
don't
at least
either.
a couple of these divisional games, but unfortunately it just added up to where when you said they were going to lose, he said they were going to lose. He, and I say he is an Elliot, had them losing literally almost every game. So
Yeah,
it became
That's
a little
not
tough
true.
there.
That's
well,
not true.
it
Yes,
is
you
true in the
did.
division. In the division, you had them losing every
Correct.
game.
I had them losing every divisional game because
Yeah,
that's what they did
and
last
that's-
season.
And that's a little ridiculous.
And they didn't have Joe Burrow for half the season. It's
a little ridiculous.
They almost beat the Ravens at home last year.
We'll
Like
put this in our lunchbox,
said
and
that was an
we'll come back to
immediate
it.
L.
We'll come back to it.
RM and others in the chat are asking what the big news is. What's the big news? Well, how much time do we have left on 14:10 here? Do we have my clock man as he's locking this? He's literally locking this up so we know for sure what we all.
2:54.
Which means we got 6 minutes,
3
What?
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
2:54. 2 minutes 54 seconds left in
Oh,
the
I
segment.
thought you said it was like 2:54. That's what time you were giving me.
No.
On the radio.
No.
I should have known your brain wasn't going to be operating that fast.
My brain. You said how much time's left? I said 2:54.
Yeah,
And then you're like, well, what time is it? Well, what time is it in radio world? Let's see. Maybe he gave me that. And it's like,
I
no,
thought
maybe
you were
not.
saying it was
now-
2:54.
Well, now we got 2 minutes. So what's the big news?
2 minutes. Big news is for those that watched Off the Bench and watched Chatterbox Sports last year, a significant amount. There's a guy named Jacob Tissett. Jacob Tissett went to Alabama, which is not the greatest school in the world, if we're being honest. But it is a school nonetheless. And I liked Jacob last year. I thought Jacob came in. He did a good job. He's a good culture guy, good vibe guy. And Jacob is going to join us Monday. And he'll be with us for the foreseeable future.
How about that?
We'll see how long it goes, but for the foreseeable future. I'm going to call Luke today. We got a name. They got a name, Jimmy Collins, showing up on Monday as well. You know where he's from?
Notre Dame.
Oh,
Boy, is he real
the
special.
Fighting Leprechaun.
Let me tell
Notre
you what, I
Dame.
can only imagine how smart you had to be to get into Notre Dame. He's going to walk into the studio. He's going to find out that he went to Blanchester, Toledo,
Well, to be
Community
fair-
college.
To be fair, he went to South Bend. You ever been through South Bend?
no, but I know this.
A
Notre
lot
Dame.
of beautiful sights in
Notre-
South Bend, Indiana. I mean, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I mean,
But he is from the Irish, so we'll make fun of how this team's basically a has-been. They're like the Radio Shacks of the world, you know?
Yeah, they are.
They still around? You know?
no, Radio Shack's gone.
They're gone.
They're gone.
You know who made a roaring comeback as we keep giving free ads on the
Who?
show? Best Buy. I thought Best Buy
they
was.
never went anywhere.
I know, but I thought they were on the precipice of being dead. I did. I was like, you know what? They always have overpriced stuff. Now, they do still have HDMI cables in there for like $75. It's like, who's buying a $75 12-foot HDMI cable when you can get online and buy one for $2?
Yeah, that's
But
true.
Jacob Tissett, he will be with us
And-
full-time on Monday.
So you should probably add on to that. The show will be changing a little bit with the format, right?
Correct. Yes, I was going to finish this, and I was going to say this. I
didn't
am
think
going
you
to
were gonna get
continue
there.
to be on Chatterbox Reds each and every single day. As far as doing this show with Chatterbox Reds, I will say it. I'm not asking for sympathy. It's impossible for me to do the things that I need to do within my life and still do a good job on this show. And I feel like for the last month, this show has suffered mightily because, honestly, I've not been able to keep up. And that's just being honest. Will I be here? Will I be able to pop in? Will I be on the show from time to time on Off the Bench? Yes. But from here moving forward to the foreseeable future, which is the term that I like to use here because it's almost like an indefinite amount of time. It's going to be the gang of the interns, Reed, Casey, Elliott, and we are going to kind of find our way through this little bit of a corn maze that we're going to go embark ourselves on.
RM says that's what Tom said too. Listen, Trace will be here. Nate asked, "Did you get fired? Can you confirm you did
you
not
fire
get
yourself?
fired?"
Can you confirm that?
Did I fire myself?
Yeah. You didn't get fired?
I mean,
Well, you did. Or
kind
you
of.
did get fired.
Kind of
All right.
fired myself.
They're
yeah.
asking who the host is. The host will be nobody because it'll be a group effort. It'll be a different kind of way we've done this show.
Yes.
We've never done it like this before, so we're gonna try it out. We're gonna see if it works, and hopefully you guys like it. It's gonna be more open discussion rather than one guy gives monologue and then we bounce off that.
For the members, think of what Box Lunch is right now, but a little bit more organized.
Yeah,
Yes.
a little bit better.
A lot more voices.
That's
And
right.
on top of that, we are going to figure this out. We're well aware that many of you make this a big part of your day. I also want to be very, very clear and honest with all of you that this probably will change at some point. We're going to go 10 to something, whether that's 10 to 11:30, 10 to 11. We will have OTB overtime memberships. If you are a member, we very much appreciate you. I'll be very blunt and transparent. The idea is obviously in our organization to keep things afloat, make sure things make sense. We're asking our guys to go out and do high school graduations to pay the bills around here from time to time. So it's, again, we're not complaining by any stretch of the imagination. We love doing this show, but we just got to make things make sense. So it's not going nowhere. I don't want anybody to think that it's going anywhere. But, we're going to find ways in which, we can incentivize people to become members because we want it to be worth it, yes.
Yeah.
We also want to make sure that we can keep, obviously, making sure you guys can keep your lights on at home.
Yeah.
And we're going to do some fun things behind the paywall to try to make sure that
That's right.
if you like us, you support us, we are. This isn't a money grab or anything like that. It'd be one thing if we were all millionaires. That would feel different.
That'd be great.
But we're not.
For tomorrow's show,
Yes.
would you
I
want
know
that
we-
to
I
be-
know we're running out. We're
We're out of time.
here.
We're out of time. We're in a little bonus time, but we got some minutes to fill here, so we're okay. Tomorrow's show, do you want that to be your grand finale, or are you out today?
No, this is going to be my grand finale.
This is
but
his
here's
grand
the
finale.
thing. This is the thing, is that you can get upset about that. You just tune into Chatterbox Reds.
They're calling you quitter, Trace.
Yeah, and I might be.
Wow.
I might be. But I will be back in here in the studio as much as I possibly can. But unfortunately for me, to continue to do things at somewhat of a high level, something has to give.
Chat's
Well,
being
before
very
you
funny.
take off, radio listeners, what are they expecting? Are we still going to be on there as well?
Yeah, radio
Yes,
listeners,
radio
nothing
listeners,
changes. Nothing changes. You just get to hear some other voices that are probably much more intelligent than mine, to give better takes than mine, and probably will be well more prepared than mine. But maybe I'll come back after the Red Legs finish their
Yeah.
season, and I can reprieve somebody
Yeah.
else.
After the
Perhaps
Reds
it's like
win-
a tag team
Yeah.
thing.
After
That's
the-
why the open forum was the goal.
How many losses would it take for you to quit Chatterbox Reds?
If they lose 20 games in a row, I'll tell Nick. I'm going to tell Nick we're going to take a vacation. Together. Together.
Yeah.
Together.
Okay.
They got to
All right.
lose 20 in a row. 2-0 in a row.
Okay. What if they win 48 games this year?
It doesn't matter. If they don't lose 20 in a row,
right.
it doesn't matter.
That's
so,
fair.
all right. This has been Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. We love you in Dayton. We appreciate you. Kenner and Kev is next. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.
Best wishes, Trace, on your new endeavor.
Mark Fetters. I do have one thing to say. Stay tuned because Jacob and I are actually going to do a video together today about the Bengals schedule. We're going to react to it, post it on YouTube. So his debut is really today, but on the show Monday.
So, it is what it is, as they say.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Like I said, I'll do my best to come in here when able, but I really do care about trying to do a golf tournament. We've talked about doing a golf tournament for 2 years.
That's right.
And it never gets done. And the reason it doesn't get done is because you look around the room and you realize that everybody's doing too many things at once. And in order to grow, you got to make a room for that. And I'd like to do new things at Chatterbox to try to continue to spread all the different types of avenues that we've gone down. And one of them is doing outside events, and I think we have the capabilities of doing them better than anybody. Well, I know that. I don't think it. I know we can do it better than anybody. The fact of the matter is now you have to actually do it. It's one thing saying it. It's another thing doing it. It's time to start doing it. So,
Randy.
what? You're just having a ball over there.
Well,
Go ahead, Elly.
the chat's angry. I mean, the chat is just angry. Randy says,
what are they mad at?
I for sure would not watch a video of Casey and Jacob unknown. He's out. Trace, you killed him. I mean, we got guys leaving us. Nobody's watching any of our stuff anymore. They're not going to watch me. They're not going to watch Casey. They're not going to watch Chatterbox Reds. Everybody's out now because you decided to fire yourself.
Listen, I am well aware that I know. I know this.
Blackmore says now you have time to fix the hole in your basement.
I don't actually know. I need to get somebody over there to fix that. In fact, what I've decided, and my wife's not pleased about my decision making at the house on a whole host of things. But one of them is that I've decided that I am not putting anything nice in my house until my kids are literally gone. Or when they're old enough to where I think they'll respect it. So maybe in high school, I don't know when kids go from just coloring on things or just spilling sweet tea or spilling pop in the middle of a couch and then just not telling anybody about it. And then you get over there and you realize oh, well, I guess this happened 6 hours ago, so now how are we supposed to fix this?
Yeah.
I got my couch looks like somebody spray painted all over it. I genuinely at this point have given up. I've given up. So what I've decided that I'm going to do and what my decision making is that, you know what? We leave everything be. In about 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 years, we'll reassess, we'll figure out all the damage, and then from there we'll start fixing some things. But there's no reason in fixing something and then it getting broken, and then fixing something and then it getting broken. I'm not doing it. So if you come to my house, that's the reason.
Colton says, sounds like you need some electric collars.
Boy, I tell you, that would put me permanently fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
I think I'd find myself never doing a show again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able
Doug Gottlieb's out here doing like 5 different jobs at once.
Yeah. Well, 3, it's probably 6
I got
if
news
you count.
for him. It ain't easy.
6 if you count credit card theft.
Yeah, wow. Did you see when he put his shorts on backwards at Oklahoma State?
Really? I didn't see that.
Never seen that.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, he walked out to play a basketball game, and he took his warm-ups off.
Yeah.
And his shorts were on completely backwards. So they had to run him over there to the end of the bench and change it. I don't know. It's kind of fun little deal.
Yeah. Do you think the Reds are going to win tonight?
No, but you know what? I'll watch.
With Brent Suter opening?
And I hope they will. Casey's asking if we want to do some call-ins. I'll tell you what. I'll do call-ins. You can open it up. If someone wants to call in, they can call in. No problem. But here's the thing. We got about 10 more minutes on this show.
Yeah, Elliot has to leave to go to do Miami soon.
Yes, we got things to do.
Well, we got things to do. We'll appease the fans tomorrow. I will open up phone lines tomorrow.
Ooh.
So you're not opening up right now?
No, I'm not going to open it up right now because I do know you got to go. I'm sure Trace.
Yeah, we got to go to the same place. I believe we're all. Well, I don't know. I think we're all doing the same things. Yes.
Okay. So I will open them up tomorrow. We'll have a full show planned. Me and Elliot, and I don't know who else is going to be on that show tomorrow.
I'm going to try to get some experts in here.
I will also say, as I depart this show, I'm also working on things behind the scenes to get us more content. So if you think it's all just, hey, we're doing less and less and less, the opposite it would be true. So hopefully we can find a way to bring more and more content. I'm well aware that as we head into the fall, it will be kind of the prime season of sports talk, right? Football is king. It is king. It will always be king until told otherwise. So hopefully as we head into this fall, we'll have a plethora of people that can not only do, Casey's job, because that's some of it too. Casey basically has to sit behind that computer more times than not. So if we can find ways in which, Jacob can help Casey out, Casey could help Elliot out, and Elliot can help me out, you get this nice little circle of trust of being able to do certain things, and then that allows you to start doing more and more things. One thing that I do want to do, though, is I do think that we need to start scheduling some members-only stuff, and I think the first thing needs to be maybe you could take some suggestions from the members, but putt-putt's one.
I want to wait until we get our interns in here to do that. I want to make sure
throwing some darts.
I got dartboard.
Not darts, but the axes.
Oh,
as long as we don't kill each other.
I don't want to know if I want to throw axes.
Why not?
We can do axes. We can do
Have
axes.
you guys ever done shot guns at the little discs.
The
What's
range?
that called?
At the range, like the.
No, I'm talking about like where they throw it in the air, they shoot in the air, disc shooting or whatever. Anyways, I got a brilliant idea.
We're gonna get guns. You want me shooting a gun?
Listen. I think it'd be great content. I also think what would be good is this. When are the Summer Olympics? They're this summer.
It's this summer.
Yeah, it's this summer.
That's what we do.
We do a summer
Find
Olympics.
all the
the
Olympic
Summer Olympic
sports,
sports.
and
I like
we find a way to do them. No, I don't know if we can do them all because I'm
I like
not doing the jousting. We're not doing jousting.
Just
Oh yeah,
title
we
it.
are.
We are.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I guess we are.
We got to find some horses for equestrian.
We'll just we'll title the video Elliot does pole vaulting. Elliot does.
Yeah.
Elliot does.
Pole.
I don't think Elliot
Elliot
does
will
pole vaulting. I think pole vaulting does Elliot.
But that's it. That's our show.
That is our show, and I just want to say I'm not going anywhere. This isn't a goodbye, so I'm not doing that whole song and dance. Okay, I'll be around. I'll probably be back in the fall to irritate everybody about the Bengals, because that's part of my job.
I hate to say adieu.
And with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Elliot to finish the show. Take care, everybody.
I hate to.